real quickly, Oji, it just shows you what Nigeria is all about. In a part of the country, bandits are being fed, they are being given Ashoebi, they are holding peace meetings. They are holding peace meetings with their weapons. Weapons that are supposed to be illegal. Oji, you and I cannot take weapons like that and show them in public.
Impossible.
The security agents will come against us. But they can do all of that and show rocket launchers in public. The federal government will turn an eye to them. But Nnamdi Kanu that protests about a matter or that did some things that agitated for the marginalization of people, yes, some of the methods I don't support of what Nnamdi Kanu had done. And I condemn and criticize him on it. But there have also been calls for peace. There have also been calls for a political settlement. Courts in this country, and kudos to women in the judiciary, women judges, or justices. Justice Adefokwe had first ruled in 2022 that he should be discharged. The federal government went on appeal, 4-1, Justice Garba. But a dissenting judge, Justice Ogunwumiju, also ruled that the appeal court judgment should stay as regards to Nnamdi Kanu. But guess what? We have continued to put him in incarceration. Now his health is failing. They are still dilly-dallying about how to treat him. But in the same country, bandits are holding meetings with governors, doing photo ops and the likes. So when people now talk about unfairness in the same country, people will say they don't have a right. You see bandits doing press conference with guns and bullets and everything. There's no security agent in the world that will come and arrest them. Is it that security agents cannot round them up as they are doing this peace meeting?
All right.
Sheikh Gumi will now go ahead and be urging dialogue with bandits. The same Sheikh Gumi that was a captain in the Nigerian army, that I think his offspring serves in the army today. They will say, oh, bandits are also protesting because, or they are killing people because Nigeria is bad to all of them. But you have a certain standard for some people, you have a certain standard for other people.
Right.
I have never said here that I supported entirely the way Nnamdi Kanu went about it. But what we are saying is, why do you have standards for some over the others in this country?
All right.
And that's just a clear case of what we're talking about here.
Well said, Rufai. Well said, Rufai.
They say we don't negotiate with terror. That word, I don't know where they got it from. It's not in the Bible. It's not in the Quran. In fact, it's not even in practice. Everybody's negotiating with bandits. America had an office where they were negotiating with Taliban in Qatar. Everybody's negotiating with outlaws, non-state actors. Everybody. So where do they get that knowledge from? We negotiate for peace and our strategic interests. If negotiation will bring stoppage of bloodshed, we do it.
Some critics argue that your actions, the way you engage with these bandit groups, seem to legitimize their operations, and also it undermines the state authority. How do you respond to accusations that you empower them to carry out these attacks, kidnappings, and violence that we see across board?
Anybody who thinks that way, because he doesn't know the intricacies and what we go through, and he doesn't even know that I go there with the authorities. I don't go there alone, and I go there with the press.
You've never gone there alone?
I've never been there alone, never.
When was the last time you had these meetings with them?
No, it was just in 2021. That's when I did a marathon trying to see if I can get as much as possible to get them together. But unfortunately, the government of that day is not keen about what we are doing. I mean, the federal government. The states were keen. The federal government was not keen. So they declared them terrorists. And since they are declared terrorists, we said, okay, we have disengaged completely from every contact with them.
But this quote, among several others, quite popular and controversial, attributed to you. I'd like to read that to you. Okay. You said, and I quote, "Kidnapping children from school is a lesser evil because in the end, you can negotiate, and now bandits are very careful about human lives." Do you still stand by this quote?
I think part of it is correct and part of it is wrong. Saying that kidnapping children is a lesser evil than killing his soldiers definitely is lesser. Killing is worse than, but they're all evil. It's just a lesser evil. Not all evils are of the same parallel. So it's a lesser evil than, like what happened in Kebbi. They abducted children and they were released. They didn't kill them.
In Niger State, over 230 of those school children that were kidnapped are said to be, by the school authorities, are said to be in the nursery and primary school classes. Some children as young as 6 were kidnapped, and they're currently still in the hands of the bandits.
That killed Gulag. He said yes. Did you arrest anybody? No. How do you arrive to this particular investigation? Are you aware that the chief security officer of Imo State has also said that the report available to him has established that IPOB has nothing to do with the killing of Gulag? It's political. And the video was played there in the court.
All right, it's been how many days now? Today, 6 days since your client, Nnamdi Kanu, was sentenced to life imprisonment. What was actually going through your mind and your immediate reaction when Justice Omotosho read out that judgment of life imprisonment on Nnamdi Kanu?
Well, I felt embarrassed in the sense that somebody have told me this is how the judgment will go, even while the trial was going on. So I said I thought that the person was joking. So, and as somebody, a member of the legal team and his consultant and his brother and somebody that is very close to him, people knew that I'm close to Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. And they were telling me this thing. Not only within this country, outside Nigeria. I thought that they were joking. When I travel for vacation, people, Nigerians in diaspora, told me this is how the judgment is going to be. That federal government is bent on convicting Mazen Nnamdi Kanu by all means. I thought that they were joking. So, but when the thing now played out, I was embarrassed that such a thing is coming from my own jurisdiction, where I'm coming from, as a member of, as a lawyer, and a member of a legal profession. So I felt embarrassed. But in the other way around, I also expected it based on what I had. But whichever that is the case, is the judgment of the courts. No matter how stupid a judgment will feel that it is, it must be obeyed. They have convicted him. In fact, of course, you know that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has been persecuted before, which you know, journalists you know, that has been persecuted. He has suffered the highest injustice somebody can suffer in the whole world. You are aware. Because of Nnamdi Kanu, they have turned judiciary upside down. They have turned our criminal jurisprudence upside down. It is the case of Nnamdi Kanu that somebody was kidnapped from a foreign country back to Nigeria without following the law. And nobody said anything about it. It's the case of Nnamdi Kanu where Court of Appeal, unanimous, I'm not talking about customary court, I'm not talking about area court, customary Court of Appeal, second to the highest court, gave an order after hearing the judgment and discharged Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and ordered that on no condition should anybody try him because of the extraordinary rendition. Federal government look at Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal, you are talking rubbish. We cannot obey it. And they never obeyed it. They kept on asking Nnamdi Kanu. We succeeded in making noise in pages of newspaper and in media houses, and they never obeyed it. Rather, they now use what we call a state of execution that is applied in civil matter. They now use it to stay that execution. After 8 days, they were with him. After 8 days, in a country that is running democracy, in a country that is operating rule of law. Now, they now met the Court of Appeal. That Court of Appeal that said, obey, release him. The Court of Appeal did not say, are you still with this man? The man that will ask you to release, you are still with him. The same Court of Appeal accepted that. The state accepted that particular state of a process, and said the proceedings, and went to Supreme Court. Guess what happened in Supreme Court? Supreme Court now look at all the whole issues. No, yes, it's true. The way Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was brought in this country was wrong. Yes, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu never jumped bail. The court ought not have revoked his bail. The court is even biased, written in black and white. The manner of federal government to use Operation Python dance to go and attack his house and demolish and kill several persons there and left with some corpse was wrong. Supreme Court mentioned all these things. Yes, we have also, from our own submission, we have also discovered that the charge upon one of the charges upon which Nnamdi Kanu is being charged was brought on a wrong law. Now, the only thing there is that they should continue with the trial. Whatever objection you people have, the defendant, Nnamdi Kanu, whatever objection you people have, you can raise it at the court. But what do you call it? The prosecution go and amend that particular count charge to reflect in the correct law, so that the trial should continue. I don't know whether you're going to say these are the orders of the Court of Appeal. Do you know what they did? The federal government only choose only one. Do you know the one they choose? The one of continuing with the trial. They refused to amend the law. So when we get to that place, based on what the Supreme Court said, say, my Lord, you can see what the Supreme Court said. Look at the judgment. Look at if they even accuse you that you are biased. Can you allow another judge to look at it? Binta Nyako, not just Binta Nyako, on her own, consider the application and they disqualified herself by an order and send the file back to CJ for CJ to reassign. So CJ now, administratively, through administrative letter, ask Honorable Justice Binta Nyako to continue. When the file now get back to that, and get back to Binta Nyako's court, and Nnamdi Kanu was brought to the court, Nnamdi Kanu said, my Lord, no. You have already, there is an order, subsisting order, disqualifying yourself, recusing yourself. That order is still subsisting. That order cannot be set aside by the administrative letter by the CJ. Please, you stand recused yourself. So I think they saw reason with him, and the file was taken back to CJ and it was reassigned to Honorable Justice Omotosho. So when a matter gets to another court, is to start what we call afresh. In law, we call it de novo, starting afresh. Whatever thing that happened in that old court is a nullity. Now, Nnamdi Kanu now took a fresh plea. I want you to understand it. Nnamdi Kanu took a fresh plea. What do you mean? A plea, guilty or not guilty? Remember that he has taken his plea in that of Honorable Justice Binta Nyako, and it was based on that plea, that proceedings, pending proceedings that was going on. I don't know whether you're getting what I'm saying. That was why Supreme Court said, let the matter continue in that court. Because Supreme Court was having in mind that the matter will continue in that court. Supreme Court never advised their mind that this matter can be assigned to another court and it will start afresh. I'm heading to somewhere. Do you know where I'm heading to? Repealed law. I'm coming. Repealed law. Now, when the Nnamdi Kanu took a fresh plea, everything now started de novo, afresh. The proceedings which Supreme Court made reference to in Binta Nyako's court has gone with sponged with whatever thing that happened in Binta Nyako's court. Now we are now in Honorable Justice Omotosho's court. One expected them to amend that particular count 7. That was count 15 before Binta Nyako. Now after the Binta Nyako struck out that, now it becomes count 7, which they brought in on the wrong law. They refused to amend it. They know the implication of amending it. They allowed it. Now that one is on that. I don't want to go what happened, how Nnamdi Kanu was brought to this country. I don't want to go discuss about how the Operation Partners attacked his house, how he never jumped back, how he ran away. I don't want to go into that. Now let's go back to where we are. Honorable Justice Omotosho. So when we came, the matter started. After his plea, we continued. So they opened their defense. Now the defense, the witnesses they called 5 witnesses, all DSSS officers. Now, out of the 5, Nnamdi Kanu said, out of all these people you called, it's only one person, you, that investigated me, that arrested me when I from Lagos to Abuja here, that even interviewed me. I didn't know these persons. I never met them. So Nnamdi Kanu was alleging that all those people were rented witnesses. That was his allegation. Now, how do I believe Nnamdi Kanu? All the questions they asked them, I don't know. You said that Nnamdi Kanu killed his broadcast was the thing that killed Gulag. He said yes. Did you arrest anybody? No. How do you arrive to this particular investigation? Are you aware that the Chief Security Officer of Imo State has also said that the report available to him has established that IPOB has nothing to do with the killing of Gulag. It's political. And the video was played there in the court. Now, going by the statement, Nnamdi Kanu made a statement in his statement, because in any criminal trial, investigation has to do with statement of the accused and his interrogation. It's his statement that will lead you to investigation, and you write an investigation report. Those people, they never write any investigation report, but that one is by the way. Now, the judge now, when they showed Nnamdi Kanu said, yes, I made this statement, but my lawyer was not there. I made it under duress. There was what we call trial within trial was conducted. For those of them who said that Nnamdi Kanu never made any statement, because they are not following the trial. During that trial within trial, Nnamdi Kanu used that opportunity to explain everything about IPOB, and he was cross-examined. Nnamdi Kanu was cross-examined within that trial within trial. It is there in the court record, and the court is expected to take the judicial notice of that is a stay witness. That is statement he made from the dock and the cross-examination. So after that, the judge was convinced that Nnamdi Kanu was made that statement under duress. He made a ruling and he rejected that statement of Nnamdi Kanu, and the market rejected. Now, the question there is that now that the statement has been made, market rejected, which means Nnamdi Kanu has no statement. On what basis did you prefer the charge? Because you can't put something on nothing expected to her to stand. Even the judge, on his own, raised the biro in the court, and the biro fall. He raised it again, said, "Do you know me? You can't place something on nothing expected to stand." That is the beginning and the end of that trial. Because that charge was predicated on that statement. And they asked them, Kalagabi SAN. I think it was Kalagabi that, anyway, 3 of them were cross-examined. Kalagabi was cross-examined, Meketaba cross-examined, conducted the trial, Eroko conducted the trial, Onyechip, as you know, they were exchanging all those learners. And then one of them asked, you can't ask this investigation. He said, was there any investigation report? He said, no. That one is on that. That one is on that. Now, that one has gone. Now, during the trial, when the trial was going on, I want you people to just listen so that those who are arguing what they are arguing in social media who understand where Nnamdi Kanu was coming from. During the trial, at the commencement of the trial, the judge said in the record of proceedings, I am not going to entertain any objection of admissibility of any exhibit. Any objection that has to do with the admissibility of any exhibit that is being tendered, please reserve it, and you can address it during your final written address on record. Maybe he forgot that he said such a thing. So if they want to tender that exhibit, those doctored exhibits, you know what they did? Any place Nnamdi Kanu said, if this can happen, something like, let me just use instance, and said, any police officer who used the gun government gave him to protect life and property, and he wants to use that gun to kill you, collect it back. Collect it before he kill you. Collect it and use it and kill him first. Self-defense is a self-defense, and is also admissible in law. Now, they will now remove that one, and they will only copy from only that one. He said, key police officer, and they'll attach it and play it. And if you watch all those exhibits, thank God that it's a public record if they will release it. If you watch it, thank God that most of you are experts in this field. You will know that it's cut and joined. And any time they want to tender it, you see Nnamdi Kanu in the witness box, he will be in the dock, he will be shaking his head. He say, my lord, we will object to it, but we will reserve our grounds of objection during final written address. This is how all of them have been tendered. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. So when they concluded their trial, I think they closed their case. The prosecution closed their case. I think Kalagabi jokingly told that one. So this is what all these things you tendered. That's what you now used to keep this man for 3 years in the name of terrorism. This singlet, boxers, all this tape. That's what we want to use. So they jokingly, I end up saying, I was there. So when I file our no case submission, I enjoined anybody. It's a public document. Go and read that no case submission. If you read that no case submission, that was where all these issues would have been ended. But in no case submission, my lord ruled that there's a prima facie case against Nnamdi Kanu that he should open his defense. Of course, there are some things that I will not tell you here. What brought about, just like the lawyer I told you, I'm a lawyer, and you, Mr. Victor, you engage me to represent you, and you are not a lawyer. And there are some things that you need to know as a layman. That is to say that 1 + 1 is 2. And and I have read it in your law book that 1 + 1 is 2. So in the practical, you now ask me, Mas, but you say 1 + 1 is 2. And the judge said that is not, that he won't admit it. What happened? Are you understand? Sure. I will tell you to just forget about it. A lot of issues will be coming up. You know, his Nnamdi Kanu's trial is more political than legal. So a lot of issues we are coming up, which, as a lawyer, I am an officer in that temple of justice. And being an officer in the temple of justice, I'm expected to protect the interests of the court first. My duty first as a lawyer is to the court before my client. So a lot of issues came up. The long and short story that there was an understanding, and the lawyers had to leave. They have to leave.
Did they leave voluntarily, or Nnamdi Kanu asked them to step aside?
Understanding. They have to leave. There was another understanding. I have done it in several cases. I have done it in several cases for the guest, where I'm representing a client, and it will be as if I'm having an altercation with the judge. I will tell the client, please, can you take your file to another lawyer? I don't think that I will continue with this matter. Because it will be uncalled for that I am having an altercation because of a case of a client. The APDC will not take it lightly with me. I don't know whether you're going to say.
If you look at the judgment, the court basically read out a prepared script. And in that prepared script, he mentioned something every law student knows is false. Every international lawyer knows is false. Even every civil jurisprudence knows is false, which is that, yes, that Nnamdi Kanu as a group, has a right to self-determination, which is a right under international law, but that it cannot override Nigerian law. What, I think he said Nigerian constitution, what that means is that there is a failure by the court, the Nigerian system, the judge, to recognize that there are certain things that we call jus cogens in law, meaning that they are laws that even your own constitution cannot derogate from. So you cannot say that he has a right under international law to self-determination, but it cannot override Nigerian law. That means you are contradicting yourself. It shows that you don't even know the law. And for the mere fact that not up to 24 hours or thereabout after the scripted judgment was pronounced, he was transferred to Sokoto, the seat of the caliphate. In fact, on the judgment, even before I reached there, to show you the kind of system that Nigeria is. When somebody is convicted, I think I need to clarify this point for our viewers. When somebody is convicted in law, there's always a report, a social report, before a sentence is pronounced. There are two different things, conviction and sentence. When somebody is convicted, then the next stage is to sentence the person. There is no generic sentence in law for everybody. It doesn't happen. And before a sentence can be fairly imposed, you need to look at the report of that person, the kind of report. You look at the circumstances of the person. You look at, by circumstances, I mean the person's family, the history of the person's health, the person's previous criminal convictions. You understand? You look at a whole lot of things before you can pronounce sentence. There is no court that are practiced in, that I know, that has a pre-sentence report before conviction. It doesn't happen. The implication is that you have already decided to convict the person and then had a pre-sentence report